Нашел. Отец научил меня перенастраивать датчики цели. Чуть-чуть переколбасить схему, и мина на нашей стороне. Держи так, чтобы я доставал. Готов. Она нестабильна, но продержится достаточно долго, чтобы уничтожить сталкеров. Отпускай. Она сама все сделает.
Начать диагностику. Начать диагностику. Резонантная сингулярность. Резонантная сингулярность.
Окей. Путь свободен. Идем. Надо скорее попасть внутрь ядра, иначе мы не успеем отключить реактор.
Всеобщая тревога. Внутренним группам стабилизации открыть автоклавы. Обнаружен тяжелый перелом.
Welcome to Half-Life 2, Episode 1. We received a great deal of positive feedback on the commentary track in The Lost Coast, and so we've included the same feature in this episode. To listen to a commentary node, put your crosshair over the floating commentary symbol and press your Use key. To stop a commentary node, put your crosshair over the rotating node and press the Use key again. Some commentary nodes may take control of the game in order to show something to you. In these cases, simply press your Use key again to stop the commentary. With episodic content, we are hoping to release games much more frequently than has been possible with the monolithic development schedules of the past. Game developers and game customers have been wanting to try this for years. Please let me know what you think after you've had a chance to play this, our latest installment in the ongoing adventures of Gordon Freeman. I can be reached at gayben@valvesoftware.com. Thanks, and have fun.
Скажите, доктор Фримен, если сможете, вы так много разрушили. Создали ли вы хоть что-нибудь? Можете назвать хоть одну вещь? Я так...
We used an upgrade of the refractator from Half-Life 2 to make the Vortigaunts warp into the intro. The major difference is that this time we are only refracting pixels that come from the Vortigaunts themselves. We placed a large sheet of refractive geometry in front of each Vortigaunt to achieve this effect.
This intro sequence establishes some important initial pieces of Episode 1's story and setting. Our earlier versions of the intro sequence were heavy on graphic effects and relatively light on storytelling. When we showed those early versions to playtesters, they thought it was cool, but rarely had any idea what was supposed to be happening. We went through several iterations, each time simplifying the editing and tightening up the effects. We eventually arrived at a good middle ground between the sort of psychedelic look we were shooting for and basic comprehension of what was actually taking place.
Это мы еще посмотрим.
Он должен быть где-то здесь. Ты не видишь его, пес? так волновалась. Смотри, грави-пушка. Песик, отдай ее Гордону. Смотри-ка, Гордон, пес тебе тоже рад. Уж я-то вижу. А теперь, пес, подключи монитор. Свяжемся с папой. Думаю, он до смерти извелся. Был уверен, что я тебя не найду. Цитадель вот-вот взорвется. Не знаю, как нам удалось выбраться. Все, что я помню, Брин падает, страшный взрыв, а затем голоса вартигонтов. А потом пес нашел меня под завалом. Все так странно. Успеть бы.
Алекс, ответь!
Это отец. Мы пытались связаться с ним несколько часов. Погоди, вот он узнает, что мы тебя нашли. Идем.
Дорогая, ответь!
Players love Dog, so we made sure that he was the first thing you see when you wake up in Episode 1. We also wanted players to get a glimpse of the crippled Citadel. When Dog lifts you out of the rubble, it's one of the few instances in the game when we take control of the player's view. This allowed us to ensure the player's view lingered briefly on the Citadel before Dog set them down. Players love Dog, so we made sure that he was the first thing you see when you wake up in Episode 1. We also wanted players...
The Citadel is supposed to be a building of unprecedented scale. So out of scale with the rest of the world, in fact, that we couldn't render it without our 3D Skybox technology. This technology allows us to build the Citadel as a 1/16th scale model off in an unreachable corner of the map, and seamlessly merge it into the scene. We also use this technology to create the illusion of vast spaces and distant horizons.
Since we never take control away from the players, it can be a real pain to get them to notice important environmental events. It's a constant design challenge for us. The Citadel will be erupting in a massive light show that took 10 of us 2 months to orchestrate, and if we're not careful, the player will end up facing the other direction staring at a tire. In this case, to establish that the Citadel is coming apart at the seams, we wanted the player to notice the debris falling off of it. We used a pretty straightforward method here. Alex explicitly mentions the Citadel while pointing at it. Like most of these solutions, it's not foolproof, but it has a high success rate.
This area was redesigned several times in order to keep the player in this space while Alex delivers some exposition. As much as we hated to do it, the final solution was to have Alex climb out while the player looks for an alternate route. We portray Alex as more athletic and nimble than Gordon, so players shouldn't get too irritated by the fact that she can get to places they can't. Honestly, we're not especially happy with this crutch, but it's a trade-off we sometimes have to make so that we can get Alex out of the way of interesting player challenges.
Папа, ты меня слышишь?
Алекс! Алекс, ответь!
Секунду, сплошные помехи. Ну-ка, пес, помоги мне. Так, чуть-чуть вправо. Четкий сигнал. Есть. Папа?
Алекс, где ты? Скажи, что ты успела покинуть город.
Ну, не совсем.
Что?
Главное, мы нашли его.
Ты нашла Гордона? Невероятно. Послушайте, вам нужно выбираться из города. Цитадель вот-вот взлетит на воздух.
Взлетит, в этом нет сомнений. Наши датчики показывают стремительное нарастание темной энергии. Вся материя в непосредственной близости от вспышки подвергнется энергетическому
Айзек, не
воздействию, последствия которого я не берусь предугадать. Он наносит невообразимый ущерб.
Клайнер,
личной
замолчи!
Папа!
Боже мой, Элай, прости, конечно, но зачем так... переживать? Алекс давно вне опасности.
Вообще-то мы все еще в
Что?
цитадели.
Господи, боже мой, но время на исходе. Ядро готово взорваться. Вы не успеете покинуть опасную зону, если только... Позвольте. Да, можно замедлить реакцию ядра изнутри.
Нам надо войти
Да,
внутрь.
внутрь ядра. Даже не думай об этом, Алекс, это слишком опасно. Уровень радиации внутри зашкаливает.
У тебя есть костюм. Если мы придумаем, как попасть в цитадель, мы
Алекс,
сможем...
нет!
Но папа!
Айзек, образумь ее!
Мне жаль, Элай, но другого способа нет. Кроме того, мы сумеем спасти жителей.
Мы справимся, папочка.
Конечно, Алекс, конечно. Только пообещай. Пообещай, что ты не станешь рисковать жизнью без необходимости.
Обещаю. Я люблю тебя.
Я люблю тебя, маленькая. Я буду за тебя молиться.
Не волнуйся. Скоро увидимся. Да уж. Не волнуйся.
Right off the bat, we needed to hammer home some story points, reintroduce the cast of characters, and explain the player's immediate goal. It was a pretty intimidating chunk of non-interactive exposition. We generally approach these scenes by writing way too much, and then through constant playtesting, trimming the scene to more manageable levels. But in this case, even after some heroic pruning, the opening scene still felt too long. We ended up splitting the introductory sequence into 3 scenes, separated by some gravity gun puzzle solving, and then a dramatic walk across a crumbling ledge.
Ого! Ну и высота. Только после тебя. Осторожно.
When we designed the Half-Life 2 facial system back in 2000, our goal was to get a natural-looking performance at a moderate distance. Given our real-time polygon and texture budgets, we chose fairly reserved or constrained performances over ever having the actors' faces get into a bad-looking or unnatural expression. For Episode 1, we wanted to extend the character's facial system to support more intense performances with a wider range of facial expressions that would hold up better at close range. These facial improvements included increasing the detail around the eyes and mouth, increasing the number of facial shape targets, think of these as movements of muscle groups, by about 50%, rewriting the rules that control how these shapes blend, and increasing the intensity of many of our existing shapes. In addition, we added support for controlling the amplitude of the facial movement for lip sync animation, which let us dampen or amplify the mouth shapes based on the volume or intensity of the dialogue.
Sometimes we need to keep the player in an area so that we can deliver some critical dialogue or run an important sequence of events. In these cases, we temporarily block the player's path using what we call a gate. These gates generally take the form of some obstacle that can only be removed or opened by some character or event. In this case, the obstacle is a crashed gunship that can only be moved out of the way by Dog. Though the final scene looks pretty straightforward, a lot of care had to be taken to make sure that Dog hit his marks and played his sequences without trampling and damaging the player.
Monitor scenes are especially difficult to make interesting, since they tend to involve literally just talking heads. By interweaving critical expository information, like how dangerous the Citadel has become, with some dramatic character interactions between Alex, Eli, and Dr. Kleiner, we were able to convert a potential liability into one of the strongest scenes in the game. A great way to illustrate characters' relationships to each other is to have one of the characters in danger and show the other's reactions to it, which is what this scene is all about.
Alex travels through much of Episode 1 with the player, and consequently passes through a wider variety of lighting conditions than she did in Half-Life 2. This meant that we had to improve the quality of the lighting algorithms used on Alex to look realistic in any situation, from the eerie hallways of the Citadel to the streets of City 17 at sunset. For this episode, we added a specular lighting term to the shaders used on Alex, which provides a realistic shiny look to her skin, her leather jacket, and even her teeth. In these new lighting calculations, we chose to specifically emphasize bright highlights caused by illumination from grazing angles. This type of lighting, also referred to as rim lighting, is particularly dramatic when coming from low-angle light sources such as this bright sunset. You'll also note that the rim lighting is further enhanced by our high dynamic range post-processing, which causes the specular highlights to bloom in a striking and dramatic fashion. We have found that the move to an episodic development cycle allows us to take advantage of the fast pace of graphics hardware innovation by incrementally adding new features, such as Alex's new lighting techniques, to the source engine with each new episode.
Да,